Hello and welcome to the Film Focus Online podcast. I am your host, Elliot Lyons, and today we have a very special end of year episode for you. Joining me will be our Film Focus team to discuss their favourite film, biggest disappointments, and their most anticipated of 2026. Before we begin, if you're watching on YouTube or listening wherever you get your podcasts, be sure to hit those subscribe and follow buttons and never miss an episode. Let's get into it. I'm joined by Romy Norton, whose pick for 2025 keeps the tension high all the way through. So, Romy, what is your favourite film of 2025 and why is it top of the pile?
Well, mine changes every week, basically, depending on what I've watched. And then I have to go back and remember everything that came out this year because we've actually had, I think, a solid year of films. There has been so many good
definitely.
films. So I'm breaking it into two because that's how I do this.
Okay.
So my favourite film.
You cheat the system.
I have to cheat this. I have to cheat the system because there's a favourite and then there's the one that I think should be everybody's favourite and hasn't got the recognition it deserves. And I think that's its own kind of category. And I don't know why it hasn't got it and why so many people haven't seen it. And I keep pushing it as much as I can where I'm like, this film. So the one that's going to win all the Oscars, the one that everybody's loved, is very excited about, and the one that I am saying is probably the best film of 2025 is One Battle After Another.
Yep.
It is, for me, the definition of what cinema is and what cinema should be, what cinema always will be. Acting is fantastic. Some of the shots are just incredible. Great story. And I really do hope that Sean Penn gets recognised for this in the awards. I haven't actually checked how bad am I because I know that the categories about. I've not checked. I'm so behind. Yes, that is the one where it's going to sweep. It is fantastic when you look back at everything.
Yeah, it's definitely going to win a few rewards.
Yeah, and
where do you think this sort of ranks amongst Paul Thomas Anderson's other works?
Yeah, I think it's really up there. I think he pushed the boat out a little bit more with this one.
Yeah.
Stylistically, I think, with the story, I think my one criticism of it was that it was too long. However, was I mad at the length? No, because I enjoyed the story. I wasn't there thinking, cut that out. I was thinking, I'm enjoying all of this. I am enjoying the 3 hours of storytelling, which I don't think I've had with his other films. So, yeah, this one, I get it. It's the best from every perspective, not just I liked it and I liked the acting and I thought it was really good, but every aspect from writing, directing, acting, everything. Yeah, fives. So.
Did he? I'm just trying to have a look now. Did he? Has he won a director Oscar?
Not off the top of my head. I don't think he has. No,
I don't think he has.
No.
Phantom Thread won one Oscar, and There Will Be Blood won two, but I'm not sure that he ever won it for Best Director. So this could be his year.
I'd be happy. I'd be very, very happy for him. Really, yeah, I really would. Really, really would. And the other film that should be the best, and I'm classing it as a very close second, and that is She Rides Shotgun. Nobody's talked about it.
Tell us a little bit about that.
I remember watching the trailer and I loved it, and it got a very, very small cinema release in the UK, like a couple of weeks. Wasn't in any what I would call major cinemas. For me, it was like an hour and a half drive away, and I'm in quite like a major city. So I was like, wow, that's a lot for me to go see a film. And Taron Egerton is a convict who's escaped. He kidnaps his daughter and they're on the run. For her own safety, he's upset people, and basically there's a bounty on his head and his family's head. They do kill his ex-wife and her partner, hence why he grabs the girl, and he's like, but there's this wonderful tension beginning with, why has he kidnapped her? We don't learn that too quickly on, so this relationship between them two, it's quite strange. She knows who her dad is, but she doesn't know him because he's been in prison. Her parents have just died, and now this man. So there's this beautiful, should I trust my dad? Should I be with him? And she's like 10. Now, for me, we've had quite a lot of praise for young actors this year, rightly so. However, B is one of the most stunning actresses, the young actress I have ever seen. So I am imploring everybody to watch it because her performance is utterly outstanding. And I was just mesmerized for the 2 hour runtime. Excellent. So that is my didn't get enough recognition, should get enough recognition. And if it had the cinematic release, if it had the press, if it had the PR, it could be stood next to One Battle After Another quite easily at the Oscars. And I think
Amazing.
that girl deserves it. And I would give her Best Actress tomorrow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So She Rides Shotgun is available on Prime Video?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, watch it on Prime.
Yeah. One Battle Another, I think, is still in some cinemas, but also available to buy and rent. So, to finish us off then, what was your biggest disappointment of 2025?
28 years later. And I feel like it's going to be...
Because I know you were really excited about it.
I was. And now I feel like it's going to be my biggest disappointment of 2026. And then if Danny Boyle throws the next one into 2027, it's just going to ruin my life for like 3 years, isn't he? This is the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm keeping my mouth shut.
I know. You've already seen it and you're being very good at keeping your spoilers to yourself, but I'm going to watch it, obviously. But yeah, I just feel like the zombie genre has changed and I don't like, I'm going to say it's evolving is the genre. How fitting, and they're evolving. And I don't like it. I
wouldn't say it's even a zombie genre anymore. That's the issue with it.
Yeah. It's a new genre of like it's like an apocalyptic dystopian. It's not zombie.
Mankind. No. Yeah. They're sort of an afterthought in these worlds nowadays.
Yeah, and I'm very bloodthirsty.
Which is a shame.
I wanted some I wanted 28 weeks later, you know what I mean? And I didn't. So I was just like, okay. So it was disappointing, and I'm still excited I'm excited for the performances because the acting is still great. I just think the story really lacks. So yeah.
Cool. So what is your most anticipated of 2026 then?
So again, I've got two. One of them I'm putting in because I am so annoyed at the fact that the UK gets films. I mean, this one I think has been out in the US for like 5 months. And we don't get it till, I think, early January. It's sweeping the awards. He's getting nominated. And I'm like, fabulous. Why in the UK are we not getting these films? So, and that is Twinless. I'm very excited to...
It showed BFI, didn't it?
Yeah.
This year, I think.
Yeah, it did. It was at the BFI and it was out in the US before. With also, I want to say 6th and 9th of January, something like that. And I was like, this is so long. This is a massive time difference between here and the US.
No.
And yeah, so I'm very excited for that one. But I feel like we should have got it months before. So then the other one I'm really excited for that feels more like a 2026 release. Because it is a 2026 release at the end of the day. And that is Send Help. So both of mine feature Dylan O'Brien. I'm a huge fan and I'm very excited for his career.
Why?
I wonder why. Yeah, I'm loving his career progression at the moment, and he's just sort of bashing out excellent film after excellent film after excellent film. And I think Send Help with him and Rachel McAdams is going to be a very strong, fun drama, thriller, horror, which I'm very excited for. So yeah, I'm waiting for that one.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for joining me. Have a great New Year's, and I will catch you soon.
Perfect. Have a lovely New Year, everyone.
Joining me now is Alex Gilson. Their favourite film of 2025 is a small personal story that quietly stays with you. So, Alex, please reveal your favourite film of 2025.
So this is so hard. I had a bit of an existential crisis. I was on the bus to work and I was like, right, I better just try and drill out my best films of the year. And I realized that actually this year has been so strong. Like there are so many. I
Mm,
mean, I'm a chronic overrater of films anyway, but I've given so many films 5 stars this year. It's kind of insane. But the film that I think has stuck with me the most, even above some of the ones that kind of came pretty high in my list, is Sorry Baby, which is Ava Victor's directorial debut. They
yep.
also wrote and also starred in the main role in the film. It's basically about Ava Victor's character coming to terms with a very terrible thing that happens to her, and the story is told kind of out of order. We kind of start towards the end and then kind of go back to a time where the incident happens, and then we kind of come back, and then it's like it kind of goes back and forth. But it's kind of
Mm,
really interesting because I think what I love so much about this film is how it captures trauma, and not just trauma, but like our response to trauma, and how it brings our life to kind of like this standstill.
mhm,
And I think that's really, really perfectly kind of envisioned in the film, because we kind of start off and we're seeing Ava Victor's character in kind of a home, and we're kind of led to understand that something has happened, and her friend, who is played by Naomi Aki brilliantly in the film, kind of comes to stay. And there's kind of, I mean, their chemistry as well is just absolutely off the scale. It's incredible. Just like they look like they've been friends for years and years and years and years. It's genuinely insanely good. But then yeah, as it goes back and
mm.
we kind of learn little bits and bobs, and then it kind of goes back, and we kind of see the build up to what happened. And yeah, I
Interesting.
think it kind of just gives us that idea of like, once something like that has happened to us, like I said, kind of life comes to a standstill. And not only that, but you kind of can't, you're stuck, but you're also stuck looking backwards as well. Like it's hard to envision things going forward. And again, like I said, I think Ava Victor, they just capture that so incredibly well in the film, and their performance is absolutely phenomenal. And yeah, and I mean, there's also another thing as well, the scene in question, which we don't actually see, and I feel like this, for me, this is one of the best parts of the film, because it's kind of transformational in the way that a moment of trauma, and especially a moment of sexual violence against women, which is
Mhm,
obviously so often kind of perpetuated in cinema, and not only that, but kind of glorified. And
mhm.
we see it a lot, and it's never really dealt with in a very kind of, it's just never given kind of the respect and the kind of, I guess it's not treated how it should be.
Yes, I'm
But
with
the
you.
the scene in question in this film where the incident happens is filmed and constructed in such an impactful and powerful way. And I kind of just feel myself thinking about it now, and just thinking about
Mm,
how incredibly it was, because we don't actually see anything happen. There's not no kind of,
right.
initially anyway.
So it takes that choice to not show you what's going
Yeah,
on, but to sort of
to start.
make
Yeah,
you think
so
about actually what's happening.
so the kind of, when it first goes back and the incident happens, it is literally just a static wide shot of
Mm,
the house. So the Ava Victor's
wow.
character goes to the house of the man, like they're a professor, and literally it is just, like I said, a static shot of the house, and it just keeps on that static shot, and it starts off and it's daytime, and then it just slowly, the day moves on and moves on until it's nighttime, and then
Mm,
Ava Victor's character leaves the house. And like, you feel the weight of that, because
mm,
you kind of, you, in your mind, you're filling in the blanks, and you're like, something's happening here, and
yeah.
it's like irking me that this shot has been like focused on for so long.
I've
And
not
then they
seen
leave the
it, and
house.
you describing that to me is making me feel like
Yeah.
overwhelmed.
Well, exactly, no, and it's crazy, and this is why I think it's so incredible, and it's such
Mm,
an interesting choice filmmaking choice, because you're making the audience fill in the blanks, right? And you're also saying that, like, I'm not going to do that thing that every other film does. I'm going to try and use this try and communicate through filmmaking language this kind of very terrible and horrible thing that's happening. And I
Amazing.
just, it's just incredible. And then I think, to kind of, as the film goes on, it's kind of about Ava Victor character's journey and kind of accepting what has happened, but also it's not kind of that thing of, the film doesn't accept that trauma just disappears and you can just move on from it. It's like, it's always going to be there. It's about what the film does so well is it kind of shows about how you can kind of take baby steps, and there will be strides where you can move forward instead of just being static or living in the past, but it will always be with you and it will always be who you are as a person. And I just think that's also really important and a very interesting message. But yeah, I could talk about it all day. I honestly adored it, and I really hope that Ava Victor sees some kind of acknowledgement during awards season. I know that there's some conversation about them getting nominated in Best Actress, but who knows? We'll see.
Well, that, I believe, is streaming on Mubi.
Oh, might be. I'm not too sure if it is. I need to watch it again, actually.
I did have a little look into it. I think it's streaming on Mubi, but yes, seek it out. Sorry, baby. So to finish us off, then I have a couple of questions. What was your biggest disappointment of 2025?
Right, I thought about it and I was like, I could do the easy punch and say Lilo and Stitch, but I think we all knew that. Well, I mean, obviously we have different opinions on this, but I was like, I knew it was going to be bad, so it wasn't exactly disappointing when I came out and was like, yeah, that was bad. But one film that I was really excited for and just really did not kick up to scratch was The Running Man. I think, sorry to say, but I think Edgar Wright is on a generational downturn. Like, I'm like, where his good films. I mean, I really enjoyed Baby Driver, but Last Night in Soho I didn't really vibe with that either. And yeah, I don't know.
I think The Running Man had moments. I found it had moments that I enjoyed, but as a cohesive, I didn't think it quite worked all the way through.
Yeah. I mean, any moment with Coleman Domingo in it, perfection. But again, that's more of a Coleman Domingo thing rather than an Edgar Wright thing.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed the Michael Cera parts as well. When he came in, it sort of ramped up really briefly good. And then suddenly
no, you're right. Yeah, I just think that it's weird because I really like Edgar Wright as a director because he has such a kind of auto-driven vision in terms of like the kind of filmmaking that he thrives under, like, go back to Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead and all of that kind of stuff, and his style. But it felt like with this film, his style wasn't really there. It was kind of missing a little bit. And I think that's maybe where the disappointment came from.
And my final question then is your most anticipated for 2026.
Yeah, so I'm going to cheat a little bit here because I can never do just one. Because again, next year sounds like it's going to be absolutely incredible for films, and two in particular. First being Steven Spielberg's new film, Disclosure Day, which the first trailer came out for a couple of weeks ago, last week or whatever. Oh my God, it looks incredible. Big blockbusters are back. We're so back. Steven Spielberg's back. I can't wait. It's going to be so
Spielberg
good.
And Aliens, sign me up.
Exactly, the perfect combination, like butter and bread. And then, second of all, I am really excited for Greta Gerwig's first Narnia film, The Magician's Nephew, which I think I don't even know if it's been fully confirmed if that is what it is, but I think from set photos and lots of different bits and bobs, it's kind of like, we know it's The Magician's Nephew.
We reckon that's what it is, yeah.
Yeah, and I actually just read The Magician's Nephew very recently, and I'm like, while I was reading it, I was thinking to myself, right, I see the vision. But yeah, I'm really excited to see her take on it. And yeah, I mean, I love Narnia. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe from 2005 is like one of my favorite films ever. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, thank you very much for joining me. And have a fantastic new year, and I will catch you in 2026.
Goodbye. Have a good new year.
I'm now joined by Shauna Bush, whose 2025 pick revisits a classic story. So, Shauna, please reveal your favourite film of 2025 and why it deserves a spot on the top of your list.
My favorite film of 2025 should come as no shock to people. Frankenstein.
Straight into the
I
horror genre.
Yeah, it's no feat. Sinners held the top spot for quite a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Weapons came close, but no, it didn't hold a candle to Sinners until Frankenstein. Gothic horror, creatures, monsters, the romance, all of it. It was so perfectly done. Every frame of that movie felt like a painting. It was so beautiful to look at and so delicate, but also brutal at the same time. The layers of emotion and the acting, the dialogue, the quoting, it was so painful, but also healing. There was just so much to it. I adored it. And Jacob Elordi, who knew he could pull off that performance? He was transformative.
As I say, he's
I couldn't,
unrecognisable, isn't he?
unrecognizable. The way his voice was so soft, but then that guttural growl, I was so surprised, but pleasantly surprised. And Del Toro was the only person who could pull that off.
Definitely. How do you think then it sort of compares to other iterations of the Frankenstein story we've had over the years? Because it's been done so many times. So, sort of, how do you
So
think it
many
compares?
times. I think it was done. It was done very, very. Obviously, it was different, but there were so
Hmm.
many little pieces in there that, like, specifically, obviously, Mia Goth's dress representing the
Hmm.
bride's dress. Just one little detail that stood out so subtly. It was beautiful. I love how they changed Frankenstein a bit more to be so like almost like a baby kind of.
Right. Yeah.
It was more of a just a modern retelling. It felt more to these days standards. I really
Yeah.
liked how Del Toro just instead of using the romance element of Elizabeth and the creature, it was more of a motherhood kind of aspect.
Yeah.
I
No,
liked
I
that
get that.
change more. Yeah,
It's something he's wanted to do for a while as well, I think, isn't it? Del Toro is something that's been on his
yeah,
mind for a long time. So you can sort of see the passion that's gone into this project, which is great. We're
yeah,
getting the Bride film as well, aren't we? From Maggie Gyllenhaal at some
hmm
point. Is that next
yes.
year, maybe?
Christian Bale.
So two Frankenstein films in space of a year, which is great. So then, to finish us off today, I have a couple of questions then. What was your biggest disappointment of 2025 and why?
Well, another horror film, of course, because that is who I am. I am a horror girl. Hell House Lineage
Hmm.
was was so disappointing, and it was one film that I was really looking forward to. Like, I think Stephen Cognete, who's the director, I followed the
Yeah.
story from the very first film, Hell House, the original one. It's one of the greatest found footage films I've seen. And this film was supposed to kind of tie up some like mysteries, but
Mhm.
it got rid of the found footage element, which was a
Oh,
core
really?
um a core thing for fans that really
Hmm.
enjoyed. The ending was so abrupt. It rushed to tie up loose ends instead of feeling kind of like like smooth sailing. It was just kind of all over the place. Although the clowns were the greatest part of it, I really liked how the clowns were front and center, so scary. They moved
Yeah.
so much faster. Like there's one scene of a girl on the bed and it pans over and the clown's just in the corner. I was like, fuck no.
So there were moments that you did
Yeah,
enjoy.
but
but
it really
I think
let me
after
down, unfortunately.
what being the fifth one in the franchise, I think it's
Yeah.
obviously if you're a fan up to that point, you expect a certain amount. And that then sort of leads us on. What was your most anticipated of 2026?
As controversial as it may be, Scream 7, because Scream, another horror film, it's my franchise. I'm very,
mhm.
very excited for Scream 7.
Yeah. What do you sort of see it? Do you see it being as good as the most recent two, or?
I'm a little bit nervous. I'm a little
Mhm.
bit nervous because of this kind of AI um theory going around. Obviously, they've brought back Roman, they've brought back Stu.
Mhm.
So I'm curious to see how it goes, but Kevin Williamson is in the hotspot. He's directing his script, everything. So I'm excited and I have trust in him. And obviously Neve is back in the front. Sorry, Melissa Barrera, but Sydney is the girl for it. So I'm excited to see where it goes. Ghostface looks more brutal, and I like that.
Like a slasher with a bit of brutality. Excellent. So you can find Frankenstein on Netflix now, I believe. Hell House Lineage, I believe, is a Shudder release.
Yes.
Yeah. And then look out for Scream 7 when it comes out. So thank you very much for joining me. And I
No,
hope you have
thanks
a
for having
great
me.
new year. Joining me now is Jack Ransom. His favourite film of 2025 is one that builds and builds, leaving a real impact by the time it's over. So, Jack, what is your favourite film of 2025?
My favorite film of 2025 is One Battle After Another. That's probably going to appear on quite a few other people's lists, I imagine. I was torn between this and Sinners. I rewatched Sinners last night, like to compare the two. I saw One Battle After Another again earlier this month when they brought it back to the IMAX. So I was torn between the two of them at first. I was like, I've got to watch Sinners again before I definitely lock in. I love both of them, but One Battle After Another for me just edges it. I think it is a film that basically has a bit of everything in it. And the fact that it's nearly 3 hours long and feels like just over half of that length for me personally is just incredible how well balanced it is. It's like genuinely tense, like very relevant and poignant today still, messaging and themes. It's also really funny. Like I thought it was funny the first time I saw it, but on that rewatch, I found it even more funny. Leonardo DiCaprio is just throwing himself into this role. I love it when he's just playing these kind of completely disheveled, tragic, troubled, like loser guys. Like he did it Once Upon a Time in Hollywood as well recently. Like, and I think he is great in this. I think Chase Infinity is great in it. Benicio del Toro is great in it. Sean Penn, I think, is pretty much, if he doesn't win Best Supporting Actor, and I mean, Benicio is great, but Sean Penn is one of the most menacing, horrible villains that we've had this year, and he's fantastic in it. And I think, I mean, slightly prefer There Will Be Blood, but it's definitely up there with my favorite of Paul Thomas
Yeah.
Anderson's.
I was going to say, where does it sort of rank in amongst the rest of his? Is it sat there
I mean,
just below There Will Be Blood?
yeah, for me, it's like There Will Be Blood. I think is my favorite of his.
Mhm.
Then probably One Battle After Another, and then Magnolia. They're like my top three. That being said,
So
I
high
need to
then.
Yeah, I loved it. I think even more so, like I loved it on the first watch, but then watching it again on the IMAX, and this like with the sound of it, I love like picking up on the different elements on the second watch. I
Mhm.
think it's well that whole entire section where he's just trying to find the charger for his phone and to get the call to the to his to find the hideout, like the rendezvous point. I
Yeah.
think that whole entire section backed by that sort of looping piano and the tension of it, it's just perfect. That entire sequence is like my favorite bit of filmmaking for this year, 100% as well. I just think it's a film
Awesome.
that has something for everyone, really. It's
Mhm.
just brilliant.
On the sort of revisit, She said you watched it. I was actually going to ask, do you think you'd revisit it? You already have. This has already come out. Do you think it had more impact on that second visit than the first?
It did for me. Like, I thought it was, like, I thought it was what I'm looking for. It had more of an impact. I think because I knew, like, the first time watch of it, it's a lot to take in a first time watch. Like, it's nearly 3 hours. It's a lot in one go, and you sort of like the tone of it is kind of, it varies quite often through. It's like sort of darkly comic, but also deadly serious, then very funny, all sort of simultaneously. And then that second watch of it, when I knew sort of everything that was going to happen, almost enriched it more for me. I was just looking forward to certain parts of it.
You can look for everything else, can't you? I suppose
Exactly.
within it and take it on a bit more.
Yeah, picking up like some of the subtle gags and sort of background details that I hadn't noticed before, and just appreciating his filmmaking techniques even more as well. Because like the film is so well shot and directed. I mean, I saw it on the VistaVision first, which is the format he shot it in originally, wanted people to see it in, which was great. And then seeing it on that IMAX screen, like, it just enhanced it to another level, which I know everything sort of looks better on that screen, but certain films, when it's sort of really like shot well and designed for it, I think it just adds another whole level of quality and kind of impact to it. And I think on that second rewatch, it was just cool because it was clearly like people who had missed it the first time around as well going to watch it, and like hearing their reactions the first time. I went with my friend, she thought it was great as well. And it was really good seeing the audience like react to it for the first time. I was sort of looking for certain moments that I'm waiting for the audience reaction to them and stuff. Was really cool. Yeah, it's brilliant. It's one of those films that you don't think you wouldn't sort of, it's a proper crowd pleasing movie.
Okay.
Yeah. Definitely recommend a rewatch if you get the chance to see it on the
Awesome. I think it is available to buy or rent on digital platforms. I don't think we're quite close to streaming yet, but I think it's available to buy or rent. So that's one battle after another.
Yeah.
So to finish us off then, I have a couple of questions for you. What was your biggest disappointment of 2025?
This was quite tricky because there was a lot of films that came out that not so much substantially disappointed me that I thought were fine or just decent. Like Fantastic Four First Steps didn't disappoint me. I just thought it was pretty good. I know like some people were disappointed with Avatar, but I never was the big fan of those anyway. So I thought the new one was
had no
fine.
anticipation anyway. So, yeah.
Honestly, though, even though the MCU's been a sort of mixed bag as of late, the one this year that did disappoint me was Captain America: Brave New World. For me, that was one such a waste of Anthony Mackie in the role finally properly as Captain America. Like, we had Falcon and the Winter Soldier as the setup. I thought that show was solid. And this is like, okay, it's his big chance. He's like finally leading one of these as Captain America. The first trailer for it was fantastic. It like really got the vibe of Winter Soldier and Civil War. But then the film came out, and it's just, for me, it's all over the place. Like, it's got
a bit of a mess, isn't it?
Yeah, like, why are we? I mean, I'm an Incredible Hulk apologist. I like that film, but what are we doing? Like, making a Captain America film around characters from that film that people are pretty mixed on, and Eternals of all films. It's almost like they were like, all right, Anthony Mackie, like, you're finally getting a chance to step up, but have like some of the weakest plot involvements from other MCU films. Like, I thought, and also I mean, I know it's a common criticism, but it looks really ropey at times. The CGI kind of sucks. That final fight with the Hulk in like that sort of pink, what's the blossoms?
Yeah,
and it just looks so weird and digital, and like that final the big section where they're flying, and it looks like a video game cutscene with the jets after them, and I'm just like, what are we doing? Like, look how good Winter Soldier looks now, and like even all the hand-to-hand grittier combat. And I just feel like it was a real wasted opportunity, especially, you know, like they had a real chance to sort of say something or make a big point with Sam Wilson as Captain America finally on the big screen, and it was just, yeah, very disappointing.
I was gonna say that they've kind of put that out, haven't they? It's got a bad response, and now they've just retconned and gone back to Chris Evans. That's not a spoiler now, because
That's not a spoiler.
we've had the trailer that Chris
Yeah.
Evans is returning as Captain America. So
Well,
Anthony Mackie
as
didn't
Steve
really get his
Rogers,
chance.
but he's definitely putting that suit on. But the issue is, it makes it clear that, like, okay, Chris Evans is coming back, so that immediately puts Anthony Mackie out of the limelight again. So
Yeah.
thought that was very disappointing on start to the Marvel
Anyway,
issue.
on to 2026 then. What is your most anticipated film of next year?
Again, this is probably going to be on many lists, and there's a lot of great stuff that's coming out next year that I'm looking forward to. But number one for me is The Odyssey. Like, each little teaser I've seen of it has been like, I saw the first teaser for it on the IMAX screen and the second little prologue thing they did before I saw one battle after another again. And then finally the new trailer came out.
I was going to say, what did you think of the new trailer?
You know, fantastic, ominous, really mysterious to it as well. I love how there's barely any dialogue in it. It's purely just tension and sound and imagery. Like, there's a little, just a line at the end of the trailer, and of course, you know, it's Christopher Nolan. I mean, I know it's like it's instantly going to be at the top of an anticipated list, and I can't wait to be there in July watching it on a ginormous screen.
Actually. Right, that's it for us then. Thank you very much for joining me. Have a great new year, and I will catch you in 2026.
See you in 2026.
Cheers, Jack.
Cheers, guys.
Bye. I'm joined by Dan Bremner, whose favourite film of 2025 is driven by fury, precision, and purpose. So, Dan, could you reveal your favourite film of 2025 and why it kicks the arse of all the other 2025 releases?
Well, the one I picked is Kill Bill, the whole bloody affair. And because we all know films aren't as good as they used to be, this was made 20 years ago and finally released properly how it should have been seen. And it probably from around that peak part of Tarantino's career. Well, yeah, because it was straight after Jackie Brown. He spent a lot of time doing it. He wanted to release it as a whole 4.5 epic with an intermission, but everyone's favourite, Mr. Harvey Weinstein, said no. So if you disagree with that being one film, you're on Harvey Weinstein's side as well.
Dan bringing Harvey Weinstein into his chats like always.
Yeah, but I didn't naturally.
So why do you think it sort of elevates having it in this one volume rather than the two films that we originally got?
But there's a big tone disconnect between part 1 and 2. Like, the first part is all the action and violence, and part 2 is all the character and like the slower resolution and all the dialogue-y stuff. But seeing it as one whole and like slightly edged around, it just works as one coherent whole. Tarantino's just off the chain with his style. The violence is absurd. It homages like 70s samurai films really well, while doing its own original stuff and ripping off a whole lot of really obscure stuff we'd never know. Uma Thurman is amazing.
I was going to say, how do you think it sort of changes sort of the look at the bride character, having it in that one whole coherent sort of 4.5 hour epic?
Yeah, it turns it into like a really long odyssey, but I did not feel a minute of it. Like, so I went with Jack and we saw it at the 4.5 hours flew by.
Yeah.
The Waitrose Keira Knightley had before it felt longer.
So had you attempted to watch the sort of original in this format the way he'd done it before?
Oh, like the bootlegs that people made online?
Yeah, well, that
No,
or
I
just
don't.
double billing it, or
No, weirdly, I've never actually watched them like all in one go before.
it's about
Because Odeon showed a couple of years ago the first one and the second one a week apart, but I only saw part 1 and I couldn't do the second week.
So there was some extra footage as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, the animated. Yeah, there's like a much longer animated segment with Lucy Liu's character's backstory, and it's like a really insane, over-the-top revenge segment. But more importantly, it's got the post-credit Fortnite short film, which is officially Tarantino's 10th and final film. It was jarring at the end of that, waiting for all the credits and then seeing a Fortnite short at the end of it.
So what then is the moment you saw, as this was kind of a re-release as such, but we are going with it being the 2025. What's sort of the moment you always think about when someone mentions this film to you? What is the standout moment of the film?
I think it's Bill's Superman speech.
Yeah.
Yeah, towards the end. And a lot of I love the Crazy 88 fight. Like, that felt great.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like the second part has all of, like, Tarantino's just top-notch dialogue and stuff, and the training with the sensei is great. Really over the top and funny.
Right then, to finish off, I'm going to ask you a couple more questions. So, what was your biggest disappointment of 2025 and why?
Yeah, this is a film. I liked the film, but as a massive fan of the franchise, apart from the second one, it just felt like a really underwhelming ending, and that was Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, so I liked it, but just it was built up as it was clearly because Dead Reckoning Part 1 underperformed. They decided it was going to be a finale for the franchise when it just doesn't feel it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just some amazing moments, but it's just really bloated. Does not feel like an end for the characters at all.
Yeah, I was going to say they don't really commit to sort of finishing Tom Cruise as Ethan Hunt. They kind of leave it a little bit open, and it's a bit like, well, you could just cut it off, a bit like they did with James Bond and Daniel Craig. They just cut it off completely, finish it.
I do love how there's just no ambiguity about that. It's just
No,
you see him get annihilated.
that's
Yeah,
a shame.
I mean, I do like it though. Like the submarine and the biplane bit, amazing. It
Yeah.
probably could have just done with a couple more moments like that in its 3 hours.
I think you're right. I think it's got good moments, just not quite an ending that would be for a franchise of how long it's gone for.
Yeah, it's just really filled with annoying like fan service stuff and like characters thrown in as people's sons from the first film.
Like
It's like, I don't give a
the first 45 minutes is just a montage of the previous films.
Yeah, there's a tighter film there if you got rid of the footage from all of them. I think they show flashbacks from all of them apart from 2.
Okay, then my final question for you: what is your most anticipated film of 2026?
As he is the savior of cinema, I'm going back with Tom Cruise with what is the director's name? Help me.
It is. I'm going to butcher this name. It is Alejandro Inarritu.
Yep, sounds right. Yeah, his new film with Tom Cruise, which was only titled in the past hour.
Yeah, as
And
we're recording this,
yeah.
we've only just seen the first teaser for it. What did you think of that first teaser?
It looks like Tom Cruise back in Les Grossman mode from Tropic Thunder, and
I thought exactly that when I saw the comedy angle on it.
yeah. So we don't really know anything it's about. So it's a comedy about the end of the world, and Tom Cruise plays sort of savior.
And that's it. That's all we've got.
Yeah, and it's got a stacked cast.
And I believe it comes out October next year.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that is kind of, and it was nice to see him working with like a big caliber director like that again, because he's just been in that blockbuster franchise lead mode for the past probably since Tropic Thunder.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
definitely. Hasn't really
excited
stepped
to see
out of
him.
that, has he?
Yeah, I'm excited to do him. So I'd love to see him do more stuff like Magnolia again, but hopefully it's a step in the right direction now that he's probably done the Mission Impossible.
Well, he's like we just said about the Mission Impossible franchise. He's kind of at the end of that, or like you said, hopefully at the end of that now. So that was his baby at the end of the day, wasn't it? So he can step away from that and do these other films that he was very involved with Mission Impossible. So,
I mean, he's still got a load of projects he says he's doing with Christopher McQuarrie.
fuck's sake.
Yeah, but they're all one's a World War II film. One sounds like just exactly the same as Jack Reacher, and they scanned that space one, and no one wants to fund that underwater film with Anna de Armas he was supposed to do.
I think he's just trying to test himself at this point, isn't he?
Yeah, but no one's going to give him 300 mils to an original film, unfortunately.
Thank you very much for joining me, Dan.
It's okay.
And
Happy to be here.
we will bring you plenty more of Dan's reviews next year. Thank you very much.
2026.
Joining me now is Seb Jenkins. His favourite film of 2025 gives you plenty to stick your teeth into. So, Seb, please reveal your favourite film of 2025 and why it sits at the top of your list.
Yeah, so I mean, I think 2025 was a great year for cinema, but I think my top choice was pretty clear from early on in the year. It was always going to be Sinners after I watched it. Um, I think as a horror lover, generally, I love it when horror kind of like drifts into the mainstream and everyone you know goes and watches a film. I think Sinners was also one of those quite unique horror experiences where you go to like a packed out cinema and you get all of the like the joint gasps and like the screams and the laughs and you get the whole cinema kind of joining in and it's almost kind of a little bit like theater. Which I don't think there's many genres of film that can pull that off. I think horror and comedy are those probably two like polar opposite extremes where you get those kind of like audible reactions to stuff.
It's a unique cinema experience, isn't it, when you get that sort of reactions in the cinema. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And yeah, like I say, when I went to see it, it was a packed out cinema. I think first week it was out, and it was just so much fun to watch. And I think surface level, Sinners is so immersive, so entertaining, and Michael B. Jordan does so well to kind of round out these two kind of really full characters. I think sometimes you see actors having to play twins or multiple characters, and it gets a little bit gimmicky. And maybe the two characters either aren't that different or they fall in the trap of like, oh, we have to make them so different. Like they have to be the complete polar opposites of one another. That again, it becomes a bit gimmicky, but I think they found really like the sweet spot for it, and he did so well in that role, in both of those roles. And yeah, like the first time watching it, it's so immersive, so entertaining, so much fun to watch. But then I think on the rewatches, you kind of get more of like all the metaphors behind it and how kind of the message of community and what happens when you invite toxicity into your community and how quickly that can spread, or even inviting toxicity into yourself as well. I really do think and hope that it kind of gets the same spot in social significance and cultural significance as like Get Out did 10 years ago. I think it's really on that kind of level of the impact that it will have on cinema and culture. So yeah, it had to be my top choice.
I think it was definitely a film that, like you said, everyone seemed to go out to see it, but it benefited from word of mouth. You know, you got that opening weekend where you got a few people going to see it, and then that second weekend it didn't really drop like you normally see box office because those people were telling their friends to go and see it. I still now, if someone says to me, what film should I watch from 2025, I've got friends that don't really they're not film lovers like like me and you. I say go and watch this, and they come back and say, oh wow, what an amazing film, which you don't get that often, unfortunately.
No, I think maybe that's another thing that's kind of unique to horror in a little way as well, where unless you're a horror fan, you maybe don't have an eye on the latest horror film that's coming out, or you see a trailer and you're like, oh, horror's not really my thing, so I probably won't go and see it. So it does really rely on that word of mouth.
It was a bit of an unexpected one as well, wasn't it? It was a bit of an unexpected horror element to it. I know we obviously knew about it, but if you don't watch trailers, or if you kind of sitting on your phone watching trailers, what happens in Sinners, an hour in is quite shocking actually, and I think it benefits from that 100%.
Yeah, 100% from like we said, from the live experience of it as well. When those moments do hit, they hit hard, and it is really, really entertaining to watch.
Yeah, so this was quite early on in the year because this came out in March. Was there anything else that sort of ran it close this year?
I think I might be wrong, but I think I handed out 2 5-star ratings on Letterboxd for like films that actually released this year, and it was Sinners and 28 Years Later. So it was a toss up between those two.
Another early release as well. So for you,
I
it's all been downhill.
really set mine in stone early in the year. But yeah, I mean, 28 years later, I think at the very least, probably for me is one of the best horror sequels of all time.
Mhm.
And that did really run it close. I thought they did such a good job of kind of making that still feel like a horror film and still feel like the original film, but also make it feel like its own thing. And the world building and the immersiveness of it was incredible. So I think, yeah, again, that does have a place very, very high up my list, but it was just pipped by Sinners in the end.
Mhm. Yeah, worthy top spot, I think. So to finish us off then, I have a couple of questions for you. What was your biggest disappointment of 2025 and why?
I think, look, there were definitely worse films that I watched in 2025, but I think Jay Kelly is probably the biggest disappointment purely because I went in kind of expecting it to be up here and it was maybe kind of like mid-range for me in the end.
Yeah.
I just thought that I kind of like saw what they were trying to do with it and kind of a film based around regret and remorse, and him kind of wanting to have another go at life in general and the relationships that he'd kind of let slip by.
Yeah.
But I just I didn't think there was actually that much character development within Jay Kelly throughout the film, and it was a bit kind of it felt a bit melancholic and like woe is me at times, and he didn't actually make that much of an attempt to improve the relationships that he'd let slip by. So it didn't really hit that hard for me in the end, but it was a decent film.
Cool. So next then, moving on to 2026, what is your most anticipated film of next year?
Yeah, so I mean, this has been my most anticipated since it got announced, I think, and it is Project Hail Mary, which I forget when it's coming out in 2026, but it's being led by Ryan Gosling. It's based on a book written by Andy Weir, which, if people aren't familiar, he also wrote The Martian, which was obviously a huge hit in book form, but also a massive blockbuster hit in the cinema. Project Hail Mary is very similar in kind of style and even subject matter. It is another space-based one.
Yeah.
It's very kind of sciencey, but also very high stakes, but with a comedic element, kind of similar to The Martian, where Matt Damon led that film kind of in a very comedic style, even when the stakes were at their highest, and it was kind of life and death throughout the whole film. But yeah, it's also being directed by Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, which I think they've done a lot of producing in the last 10 years, but their directing catalogue kind of goes back to like 21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, I think. So
yeah, did they do the Spider-Verse? Were they involved in the Spider-Verse films?
I think they produced
right?
on that, but not directed.
Yeah.
I might be wrong. So they've got kind of a lot of comedic history as well. So I think, and with Ryan Gosling, I think he's kind of the expert of that dry humor that will come to the forefront of this film. But I think I'm hoping it will be up there with The Martian on that kind of level of quality.
I think the trailers have looked really exciting. Actually, I'm again, but I'm also very much looking forward to this. And we look like we're going to get plenty of good films next year. But sign me up to some sort of space drama, dramedy, comedy. Any day of the week.
Any day. I think I've got the book on the shelf behind me somewhere. So if people haven't read that,
brilliant.
go and read that before the film.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for joining me, and have a fantastic New Year's.
Thank you very much for having me. Right back at you.
That brings us to the end of this episode. Like, rate and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. You can find more of our work at filmfocusonline.com. Follow us on all socials at filmfocusonline, and join us next time for more great film discussions. Thanks for watching, and a very happy New Year to you all, and we'll see you in 2026. Goodbye.